Hello and welcome. It is 10 o'clock. It is the 10th day of December, the 10th day of Vlogmas, the 10th day of the Yogcast Jingle Jam, the 10th day of the last month of this unbelievably strange, weird year, and I am your unbelievably strange and weird grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM, with another OGGM. Why do you keep doing this adventure? So, one of my two guys, Guillermo Robles, I'm probably spelling it wrong. Guillermo Robles, yeah. I apologize if I bastardized your name there, sir. Asked me to give my opinion on Pathfinder version 1 versus version 2. Which do I prefer in play and run? What little I know about the Pathfinder system. I have a lot of experience with 1, very little experience with 2, other than I have played Starfinder, and I know that a lot of the stuff in Starfinder carried over into Pathfinder 2nd edition. So there's a lot of the stuff in the Starfinder that is sort of like, let's test the waters, let's see if this works before we make our 2nd edition. Probably what Wizards of the Coast should have done with 4th edition before they released it, but that's the topic of a completely different video that we've gone over several hundred times. But really, you can't mention Pathfinder without mentioning 4th edition Wizards of the Coast, and you can't mention Pathfinder 2nd edition without mentioning 5th edition D&D, because the two run hand in hand. One would not exist without the other. Pathfinder would not exist without 3.5 and 4th edition, and Pathfinder 2nd edition probably wouldn't exist without 5th edition. So which of the two versions do I prefer? As a pure OG OSR gamer, there was a lot of stuff I liked in Pathfinder. I played it for a lot, I ran it for a lot, but it got way too complicated too quickly. There was way too much math in Pathfinder 1st edition, and you got too powerful too quickly. I mean, in the Pathfinder game I played the longest, which lasted for like almost 2 years on and off, when I was playing my sort of quasi-bard, but not really a bard character. Just wanted to have some skills and be a skill monkey. And in Pathfinder, if you wanted to just be pure skills but not be a rogue, bard was the way to go. I quickly had, numbers in plus 17 at, like relatively easy to achieve levels, like by about 5 or 6 without even trying. I had numbers, like I had like engineering plus 13. That seems sort of ridiculous. And I remember the guy who was playing the barbarian actually had to have spreadsheets printed out to figure out the math of this weapon when I'm raging, this weapon when I'm not raging, and plus when all the different things he added, and as he got level and got more stuff to his barbarian, there was more math, and the spreadsheet would get like, okay, all right, I'm 7th level, I'm raging, I'm wielding my 2-handed sword, and I'm using this feat, so Pathfinder got way too complicated, way too fast. Was it the logical evolution from 3.5 that everybody thought? I think on paper, if you look at 3.5 and you look at Pathfinder when it first came out, before splat books, before rule breaking, before people discovered how easily you could min-max Pathfinder and break it, I think it was a logical evolution. It took everything we liked about 3.5 and took it to maybe too far a step. But yeah. So if you like optimization, min-maxing, getting exactly what you want, having lots of options, if you think 5th edition had lots of options, Pathfinder 1st edition had lots of options. But it did bring us some of, Kingmaker, which is one of the best adventure paths ever. It brought us the idea of adventure paths. Not to say adventure paths didn't exist before that, but it really brought home that idea of this module, this module, this module, this module, this module, 5, 10 modules, 3, 5, 10 modules telling a consistent story, but all broken up into small little pieces that you could run independently and interspersed between other stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in Pathfinder. I like a lot of stuff in Pathfinder. Didn't like. There are definitely characters I could build in Pathfinder and ideas I could follow through with Pathfinder that I couldn't do. I find it a lot harder sometimes to achieve my goal in 5th edition than I did in Pathfinder. Like, I had a very specific goal for this character, and Pathfinder allowed me, with all the options, to do it very easily and live out that goal and live out that experiment, especially when the DM was like, hey, this is your experiment. This is your challenge for this character. This is a lot of like things like that. So Pathfinder let me do that. Now, moving on to Pathfinder 2nd edition. In my very little, now understand, I have not played it. I have not run it. I have read it once, and I played Starfinder. So I liked the layout of Pathfinder 2nd edition. I liked the idea, of the giving you more choices, letting you build the character you kind of want, which is Pathfinder's whole thing. Everything's a feat, blah, blah, blah. You get this many options for being a race, this many options for your background, this many options for your archetype, this many options for your class. I liked what I saw in Starfinder. The idea of race, archetype, class, background, all going together to make a character. There's a lot of stuff in Pathfinder 2nd edition that you can see carried over to Tasha, especially the idea of getting rid of races and making everything heritages or ancestries, and being able to pick and choose. So if you're looking for optimization, min-maxing, being able to build the character you specifically want without playing a game that actually, embraces that mathematic mentality, like, GURPS or Savage Worlds or Powered by the Apocalypse or, any generic game, so yeah, Pathfinder 2nd edition is probably for you. The more I play games that are out now, the more I want to play OSR games and, older games and games that, present me with A, more challenges, B, more simplicity, C, don't try so hard to be, whatever. So, Guillermo, I would say of the two, I definitely prefer 1st to 2nd, but I've never played or run 2nd. What I read in 2nd, I thought, there's some ideas I like here, but this feels way too overly complicated. And for somebody like me with all my issues with math and figuring out stuff and I know how many people had trouble with the Pathfinder math in 1st, so I could think the Pathfinder math in 2nd would also just be very difficult. I had a lot of trouble with the Starfinder math, and I like everything you're trying to do can't be done easier, simpler, but whatever. But I understand that your market is splat books and optimization. 5th edition understands that now, sadly, or at least believes that's what they need to do. Pathfinder always knew that the way to make money was merchandising, splat books, optimization, min-maxing, giving players way too many options, embracing that, GURPS mentality of like, just here's a source book, here's a source book, here's a source book. We're going to just keep throwing source books at the wall to see which one sticks. And then we'll just keep enforcing that one. And here's a source book. Here's a source book. There's almost at a point when Pathfinder felt like they were felt like they were almost trying to build their own generic system, because you had Pathfinder Occult, you had Pathfinder Tech, you had Pathfinder Space, you had Pathfinder Old West. It's like, the world of Glorium just got more and more super complicated. And I assume it's just as super complicated in Pathfinder 2nd. And there was a time where I looked at all the Pathfinder splat books and I'm like, this is sort of feeling like GURPS. Like if you just look at it as a system and not a D&D system, but just like, this is the Pathfinder core role-playing system, and here's the splat book to do Old West, and here's the splat book to do Occult Intrigue, and, if that's the kind of game you want to run, you just use the core book and this splat book. So yeah, Pathfinder, very interesting. But then they made a 2nd edition. Why did they make a 2nd edition? Possibly because of 5th. They saw that some of their market share was dwindling away. I mean, they Pathfinder 1st definitely led the race because of 4th and because of the way people reacted to 4th. Another video, which I have gone over several thousand times, and they milked that for all it's worth. I mean, sheer dumb luck, they were able to create the Pathfinder edge at just the right time to take advantage of the way the market was going. So just without even really trying, just because of the history that they had with Wizards of the Coast, and then where they were at the time of the open game license, and then the fall of the open game license, and then fourth Pathfinder and Pazio really just like bam, and got hit the road, saw the need, took advantage of it, and ruled the roost for a while. But then fifth comes out, and they're like, oh well, what's Pathfinder? I never fucking heard of it. Everybody jumped from the Pathfinder ship back onto the D&D ship when they saw that, oh, 5th edition is the D&D we wanted. Fuck you, 4th. So they're like, okay, so here, and they're like, oh, well, we see they're trying to do this, social justice, diversity, blah, blah, blah. Let's do it first, and let's do it better, which is what they did. They did do it better in 2nd edition than Tasha. So if somebody ran it, I'd play it. If there was a Pathfinder 1st or 2nd edition game going on, I'd play it. Which system do I prefer of the two? 1st, because it's the one I know and the one that I had the most time playing, and I had a good time generally with it, even though the fact that my 5th level character is getting plus 13 to dice rolls was just outrageous. But that's just the Pathfinder mentality of, optimization broken, whatever. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps. If you were going to invest in either of them, I would go out and try and find the Pathfinder 1st Edition Pocket Edition. Big fan of Pocket Editions, and I know there's a Pathfinder 1st Edition Pocket Edition. I thought I had one, but I can't find it, so whatever. I must have given it away. So it's all the rules for Pathfinder, but in a Pocket Edition, so it's a lot cheaper, takes up a lot of space. There's a Pathfinder 2nd Edition starter box, and I think we're going to see a Pathfinder 2nd Edition Pocket Edition pretty soon, too, if it's not out already. I would get those and start your research there. Also watch videos by other people besides me who actually have played both and can offer a better insight into the two. Or you could just avoid both of them. Look, if you want a game that's going to let you min-max, optimize, build the character that you want, try Savage Worlds, or Powered by the Apocalypse, or GURPS, or basic role-playing, or any of the systems that are actually built to do that, as opposed to what Pathfinder tried to do. Pathfinder Occult, Pathfinder Investigator, Pathfinder Cooking. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? I'm wearing a stupid hat. I have been your grumpy guide to all things gaming. If you appreciate this content, comment down below. If you don't appreciate this content, comment down below. If you're planning on unsubscribing, let me know why, because I can't fix it if you don't tell me what's broken. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, please take a moment to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It helps you know what's going on with the OGGM adventures, and it helps me know what direction you want the vlog to go in 2021. Until then, I will talk to you Pathfinders later.